Okay, so if you're in the world of live production, chances are you know and probably love BitFocus Companion, right? I mean, it's this amazing tool that lets you control a ton of complex gear from one simple grid. It's powerful, it's super flexible, but yeah, there's a catch. So, what happens when your show is, well, more than just one button press? Think about a big corporate keynote or a complex concert lighting sequence, maybe even a theater show. We're talking about a long chain of events that have to be timed perfectly, right down to the millisecond. And that's where things can get really tricky. That's where the stress starts to build. And this quote, man, this just hits the nail on the head. It gets right to the heart of the problem. You've spent all this time building this massive, complicated string of commands. You press that one button to start it all, and then you're just flying blind. You have no idea where you are in the sequence. It becomes a press and pray moment. And let's be real, in a live show, that is the absolute last feeling you want to have.
So let's just be super clear here. For those simple one-off actions, fire this graphic, play that sound, Companion is an absolute beast, a total champion. But for building and then running those really long, complicated, time-sensitive sequences, that's not really what it was built for. And that is the gap we're going to talk about filling. So the big question is, how do we fix this? How do we fill that gap? Well, it turns out there's a really elegant two-part solution. And the core idea behind it is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. What if we just separate the design of the show from the operation of the show? And that's where this whole thing comes in. It's called the Show Control and Live View ecosystem. Basically, it's a new workflow that lets you visually build your entire complex show. When you're offline, totally calm, no pressure, and then track it with total confidence when you're online and live. Okay, so it breaks down into two main parts. First up, you've got Show Control. This is where you actually build the show, kind of like your pre-production studio. Then you've got Live View, which is your dashboard during the live event. So let's dive into that first part, shall we? All right, so Show Control. This is all about that prep phase. This is where you get to be creative, build out your whole sequence, and you can do it without the pressure of a live audience breathing down your neck. Really, the best way to think about it is right there on the screen. It's your offline show designer. It's this dedicated piece of software you run on your laptop, totally separate from your live companion machine, and its only job, its one job, is to help you build that perfect show sequence in a visual way. And here's how it completely flips the script. Instead of typing out these long, confusing strings of commands, you're working on a visual timeline, just like you would with video or audio editing. You can literally drag and drop actions, place cues with pinpoint accuracy, and see your whole show laid out in a way that just makes sense. Okay, so just imagine this for a second. You've built your masterpiece, a full 20-minute opening for a huge product launch. It's got like 100 different cues all timed out perfectly on this beautiful timeline. So now what? How do you get all of that into Companion? Well, this is where the magic happens. You click one button. That's it, generate and download. And Show Control takes that entire, complex, beautiful timeline, and it crunches it all down. All the device commands, all the precise timings, everything, into one single simple file. And then you just take that one file and drag it onto a single empty button in your Companion setup, and boom, you're done. Your entire 100-cue, 20-minute sequence is now programmed and ready to fire. No more typing, no more copying and pasting, no more endless, confusing lists. Okay, so the show is designed, it's programmed with a single drag and drop. Awesome. But what about show day, right? How do we finally solve that press and pray problem for good? Well, this is where the second part of our solution, Live View, comes into play. And it's a perfect parallel. If Show Control was our offline designer, then think of Live View as your online show dashboard. This is your co-pilot. It's the heads-up display for the operator, probably running on a second monitor, and its whole reason for existing is to give you total 100% situational awareness. It's super simple. You just load that same config file into Live View. It automatically finds the show, connects live to your Companion machine, and then you get a big Start button. You press that, it triggers the sequence over in Companion, and it starts its own perfectly synchronized clock. It's that easy. So instead of just staring at a single button with a label on it, this is what your operator sees before the show begins. A clean, easy-to-read list of every single thing that's about to happen, complete with timings and what each cue actually does. No more mystery.
And then, the second you hit start and that sequence is rolling, the current active cue lights up in red. Just like that. The operator knows instantly what's happening right now. The guesswork is just gone. But check this out. It gets even better. Because at the exact same time, the very next cue in the list is highlighted in yellow. So now you don't just know what's on air. You're always one step ahead, always prepared for what's coming up next. That's huge. And here is the absolute game changer. That red on-air highlight, it's not just a static color. It's a live progress bar that's actually counting down, showing you exactly how much time is left until the next cue fires. This gives the operator such an intuitive feel for the pacing of the show, it's incredible. Okay, so let's zoom out and put all the pieces together. Let's look at this entire workflow, from that first creative idea all the way to a flawless and, frankly, stress-free execution. It really boils down to a super elegant three-step process. Step 1, you design. You build your show visually in Show Control. Step 2, you program. You drag that one file onto one button. Step 3, you operate. You run the show with total confidence using Live View as your guide. And this is the real takeaway here. This is the big idea. By separating the design from the operation, you really do get the best of both worlds. You get this fast, fun, creative space to build your show, and then you get a totally safe, predictable, and confident way to execute it when it really counts. And that kind of leaves us with a bigger, more interesting question, doesn't it? This whole idea, separating the complex creative design from the high-stakes live execution, that's not just for live shows. It makes you wonder, what other really complex problems could be solved just by applying that same simple, powerful principle?